And here we go.
Hey there, Alex. What's up?
What's up, Adriel? It's always gonna learn, man. Gotta know.
So what do you think about Texas reopening up a bit this past weekend? Did you stimulate the economy?
I like it. I like it for business because I went from having like 20 hours to having like 40 hours, but that's because we only have like 4 people in the kitchen right now. So yeah. But it's we got people coming in. There's some people wearing masks. There's some people that aren't. Some people aren't that worried about it. Some people are. So it is what it is. And I've noticed that it's stimulating a little bit. I mean, we did 2,500 or something like that on Friday. Yeah. So it's all is well on my front.
You worked yesterday. Is that what it was? And then
Yeah.
Barbecue?
Yeah. I worked yesterday. I didn't barbecue afterwards, but I worked Saturday. I worked like an 8-hour shift, and then I went and barbecued afterwards. So yeah. Cajun ginger chicken, man. It was really good.
Yeah, I got a call. We got in here yesterday to start creating the content and editing this video.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine called me. He's like, Cerritos is open. I'm gonna go get a quick michelada and then we'll go get some sushi. And I was like, you know what? We haven't eaten. So I walked back in the studio and I told this guy, I shut it down and take it easy. So we go over there. I walk in the establishment.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're going straight to the bar, right? So they all have these like masks that are like, I guess they were custom made and they were really, really tight on them. So as they spoke, it was very, very muffled.
Of course.
And so I caught that he was asking me if I wanted a menu. And I was like, no, we're going to the bar. And they called me back. They're like, hey, Adriel, there's like some commotion. So I turned back and I'm like, what's up? He's like, come here. They took my temperature. Which at first it was,
no shit.
Yeah. They gave me some hand sanitizer.
It wasn't like a rectal thermometer or anything, was it?
No.
Okay.
And it was kind of spooky at first because you're kind of like,
some people are being like really, really cautious about it in their establishment. Like we have hand sanitizer everywhere in our restaurant. So it's pretty kick-ass.
Yeah, it was great. And the guy was like, "Oh, you're 96. You're good to go. Anyone that had a low-grade temperature is not allowed in there." We basically had the whole restaurant to ourselves.
Wow,
it was wonderful.
As fun as that can be, it's still a little eerie sometimes.
Yeah, it was. And then we went to go get some sake bombs. And again, we were the only ones in that restaurant. So
nice.
I wasn't too concerned yesterday.
Okay. All right.
It was wonderful.
Well, we got Andy from Lubbock, Texas, chiming in. We got Robert from Allen, Texas, chiming in. So it's like we're all over the place right now. So yeah. So, but we got wonderful guest in here today.
We sure do.
She's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So yeah. Would you let? Yeah, thanks for joining us. Echoes of Pink Floyd. Yeah.
Bring her in.
Let's do it.
You want to promote before, or you want to talk about your brewery company?
You know what? I'd just rather if you want to get right into it, let's get right into it, man. Let's say hi to Christine. Boom.
Boom. Hello, Christine.
Yo.
How are you? Hey,
Yo, baby, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming on board. And I can see that background of your new barn. That's just absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Thanks so much. I'm super excited. It's been a lifelong dream that is now reality, and I'm stoked.
Great. And how's the COVID? How's that working with the company? With their trading? You finding yourself busier, or did it slow down your production?
Oh, I haven't been in production for a few months because of moving in general. So as you know, we relocated from California to New York. So I was hearing all the convo happening back and forth about the masks, and we're masks up here in
New York. Made in the USA. Beautiful.
Huh? Yeah.
I saw that. Mask made in the USA.
Yeah, well, not only the mask made in the USA, have the mask actually. Here we are.
Nice. Put it on.
Yeah, we got the gloss on, so we're not going there. That creates
can't mess up the gloss. You can't mess up the gloss.
Nobody is trying to go for, But no, we're super excited. I for a little background, because we just kind of jumped right on into the mask situation. Spirit Trading Company. We're doing Spirit Warrior kits, which are masks and hand sanitizer and some tea and a variety of things that we ship out to people. And actually, we did our first batch last week. It's what brought us back into production, and sold out real quick. Actually, I was super shocked and very, very grateful, because there's been a huge segue in the way I've lived my life in terms of career, and so needed to pivot and do it quickly, and here we go. So super grateful to anybody who's bought one, and and happy to keep people safe.
Right.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about that company. What is it? Spirit Trading Company, right?
Yeah. So Spirit Trading Company. Basically since I was a little kid, I have always collected crystals and arrowheads, and just, I don't know, I always loved rocks and things like that. And so for years and years and years, I've always just kind of given, nice. Okay, working the graphics. You got to love that.
I'm trying to. I got to see you. No one wants to see my ugly mug. I'd rather have that.
No, that's beautiful though. Anyway, so yeah, I was always giving presents of like aromatherapy things and crystals and I don't know, things that just kind of lift the spirit. And oh God, Todd. Oh, there's Todd Hollerson. There we go. Hey, what's up, Todd? The classic laugh is still here. Todd, I've known since I was a little girl. And when I was a competitive figure skater, Todd also was a skater. And I've probably known him since, I don't know, I was maybe like 6 years old. But anyway, yeah. So
that's
Spirit.
A long time.
Long time. So anyway, yeah, it's Spirit started as a side hustle of just things that I loved doing, and as a monthly subscription box, and as a side hustle to production. And it really grew, and I was really amazed and excited. And I was in Santa Barbara when I started it, and I lived in a really small cottage, which I absolutely adored, but that was very small. And so to do a business that requires making things and kind of shipping them out to people, my living room quickly became a warehouse. And I was no longer able to even have people over for dinner. It was really, I myself was eating on the couch every night. But so yeah, I needed more space. And as much as I love California, I'm a Cali girl, born and raised. I just needed to live in a place that I could afford to expand. And that's not California. As a, single entrepreneur, the hustle is always on high, and I'm not looking to work to survive. I'm looking to work to fly. And so here I am in New York.
That's a great concept. Working to fly. That's awesome. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. No
So
reason.
what else you got going on?
Well, it's been a lot. I mean, my primary career for the last 20 plus years has been production and large scale events and production and concerts. And that's where I met Adriel originally. And we were on the road way back in the day on one of the very first tours that I was part of producing, which was called the Watcha Tour. And when he was with the Chris Perez band, and we rocked, I don't know how many cities, Adriel, what was it, 15, 20 cities?
Yeah.
Across country?
And grew. Yes. We started in Pompano Beach, I believe.
Yeah.
Am I correct? Or yeah, I think it was Pompano Beach. And then we ended up, the finale was at the Greek Theater.
Greek Theater in LA.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah, it was fun. So that was a long, long time ago. And so I've done production for the majority of my life, and concerts and large scale events here and abroad. And so
now, was 33 Productions born yet at that point in
no,
99?
Well, it was born, but it was born in a different incarnation. I was living in New York at the time then too, but I was living in the city. I was living in Brooklyn, and I had just wrapped up doing Central Park Summer Stage, which was the summer concert series in Central Park, and started doing 33. And when I first began, I was doing sponsorship and marketing for other people's tours, and that was how I was involved in the Watcha Tour. I brought in the sponsors that paid for it, basically, and or helped to pay for it, I should say. And well, let's call it like it is. If you're a touring musician, you know that it is really expensive to be on the road, and very few bands, unless they are incredibly well funded, have the funds to be able to do that, or tours. And this was a festival. It was part of the Warped Tour. Yeah, exactly.
No shit.
Yeah. No, that's how it started.
Huh.
It was really created to tour, to make money to tour the equipment from the Warped Tour back. That's why the whole tour was created. And
I did not know that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, yeah, I brought the sponsors to the table and helped produce the show. And then after that one, because it was as they all are, learning experiences, I decided that it was not in my best interest to do sponsorship for other people's tours, and why don't I just bring the money to my own company and start building tours and events and concerts for myself and producing them, because obviously I had production experience, and I've always had a great network, and that I'm super grateful to. And so, yeah, that's how 33 really kind of got rolling, though. But there was some peaks and valleys happening. Let's just say.
Always is.
Oh, yeah, there's some stuff that I'll write books over.
Oh, I want to read that book.
Oh, yeah, it isn't pretty, let me tell you. It always looks great from the outside looking in, but man, when you really see backstage, woo, it's a ride.
It's definitely a ride. I was a roadie for a little while. I didn't go like on tour or anything like that, but I've done a lot of like backstage work, so I know how dirty it can actually get. Right. with people in general, and like just different personalities just coming together and trying to be as one, I guess. Yeah. And it just doesn't. Yeah.
Let's just say there's often conflicting interests, and
oh yeah.
My role, as people always say, what's an executive producer? How's that different from a promoter? Oh, you're a promoter. That's always the first. No, I am not a promoter.
You're like, back that truck up. Yo.
No, I know how to promote, and I work with promoters. That's what they do. They're well ingrained in their markets. I put together the package and the show, and and the overall brand and all of those other elements. And we work with a local promoter to bring it to life and bring the show to life in whatever city. But the real job is peacekeeper that keeps everybody with their own agendas, in alignment with their agendas and moving forward for the collective.
Beautiful. Hey, let's talk about the Nelson Mandela.
What was that, Adriel? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Are you? I'm sorry.
There we go.
You got me? You hear me?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Nelson Mandela tour, or the show that you did for him, the 366.
4664.
Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, 466.
Yeah, no worries. Well, that was, it's been an adventurous life. I'm going to take it all the way back. So I was born on Martin Luther King's birthday.
Nice.
So I like to say that I came out of the womb as a freedom fighter, and it's always been my goal and my hope for equality for everyone, and for it hurts my heart to see people that are oppressed or down just because of whatever life experience or circumstance they're in, whether it's race, if it's poverty levels, etc. It just I've always wanted to try to do whatever I can to help people rise up, and music has been an incredible vehicle to do that and bring together people from every walk of life and unite in that universal language. And so, as I mentioned earlier, I've done a lot of corporate and branded entertainment productions and large scale and very, very successfully and happily. But I'm also I'm a humanitarian at my core. And so I've done a ton of charity work. And so I think one of the things, I've always done something, but one of the things that started was I wanted to go to South Africa. And so I produced a tour in South Africa. The very first one was in 2004. And it was to celebrate 10 years of freedom from apartheid. And it was a tour that had several charitable elements to it, but predominantly it was a paid tour. I had hired the Black Eyed Peas to perform. It was a very successful tour, and it was sold out in all of the markets that we went to. And as with any tour, or most of the things that I produce, I always try to not just make it the event that you see on stage, but to bring humanity would be the word into the entertainment space. And so as part of that tour, even though it was a more commercially driven tour, I also had us visiting just townships and schools and AIDS organizations and a variety of other places. And so at one point we were on Table Mountain, and will.i.am said to me, hey, how come there aren't any Black people in my concert, or where are they? And I said, well, your fee was so much they can't afford a ticket. And he said, well, I want to come back and do a free show. And I said, well, that'd be amazing. Are you going to pay for it? Love to do that. And he said, no, you'll find sponsors to do that. And so I was like, all right, well, let me think about that. And I did, and I got to work on it. And it took me a year and a half and a lot of, help from a lot of people to pull that together. And so we brought in and we partnered with SAB Miller Beer, which actually is a little known fact, is owned by South African Brewing Company as the parent company.
No shit.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. There you go. And and so they were our partner, and we produced a free show for 40,000 people in the ghettos of South Africa. And as that was occurring, or in the production process, that year and a half process, there was another just kind of random situation. Not even, I don't know. I just really believe that when you are on your path and are trying to really go for your dreams, sometimes things will align. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes there's no flow, and you got to go. But sometimes, when you're really rolling, sometimes things just start to come together. And I did have a wonderful opportunity to meet one of Mr. Mandela's grandchildren in Washington, D.C. at a dinner with a lot of quite influential people. And we had a pretty, I don't know, it brought us together. We had a pretty life-changing situation happen at that dinner, which was, I was seated next to him, and it was July in Washington, D.C., and this is Mr. Mandela's grandson. And I was talking to him about hoping that we were getting to come back and to do a free show, that we really wanted to do that. And he was like, oh, people would love that. It would be incredible. And I said, if we can put that together, do you think your grandfather would attend, or is there a way we could meet with him? And he's like, I don't know, but, keep working. And so that started the process of about a year and a half of me kind of writing letters and proposals and kind of trying to secure the meeting with Mr. Mandela, which was a lifelong dream and that's where the Martin Luther King reference came in, is Mr. Mandela had always been a hero of mine. I really like to empower and believe in unity of every person from every walk of life, and no one embodies that representation better than Nelson Mandela in my view. And so it was a real honor to finally confirm that meeting. And once we were coming back for that show, and we did. And so as part of the free show, we also went and had workshops in schools, and got to meet with Mr. Mandela. And at that time, it was just a few of us that had that opportunity. And it was, as you can imagine, the greatest honor of my life. I was awestruck when it happened the very first time. I was pretty quiet and listening more than I was speaking, certainly. But I did say to him before I left, because he thanked me for coming and the work and so forth. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. We held hands, and I looked him in the eye, and I just said, anything I could ever do for you to help you or your mission, it would be an honor, a tremendous honor. And he thanked me and was kind and gracious, and it was incredible. And we all kind of went along our merry way, but obviously we were moved beyond. It forever changed me, needless to say. And so I was pretty shocked about. I had a lot of pretty incredible, like mind-blowing for a girl from the Bay Area who grew up in a very, very middle class. My father is a truck driver, kind of always working hard was basically the only thing that you knew in my family. And so it was an extraordinary honor to be able to realize some of these dreams. And then first it happened that I got invited to the opening of Oprah's school in South Africa, which was pretty shocking. And a lot of this came just from, admittedly because of the work, just people were recognizing my work and the work in general, and hopefully my spirit. And so I had some opportunities, and that opportunity to go see Oprah's opening of her school was also mind-blowing. And Mr. Mandela was speaking, and it was a virtual who's who. I mean, it really was. And as much as I'm not super affected by that. You'd be, you'd be unconscious to not recognize the company that you're in when you're in one of those types of situations.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was literally everyone. I mean, I met Oprah's father at that, and honestly, it's those things that meant even more to me than the who's who was the actual foundation of where people come from and how they make themselves, and come from such challenging situations and rise above. It's powerful. So anyway, I'm just rambling here, but it was
we like it that way.
It was a process, to put it mildly. And so from that, I got the opportunity again. I actually had invited Mr. Mandela's grandson to come with me to that opening as my guest, and he did, and it was incredible. He's a dear friend, and I love him very much, and I'm forever grateful to him and a variety of his family members. And so, yeah, we did that. And then again, I'm still, mind you, working on the, just in general, like everything I'd hoped to do with Mr. Mandela. And then shortly after that, and I've come back home, back and forth to South Africa. I've come back home and I got an invitation to Mr. Mandela's 89th birthday celebration, which was an annual lecture with Kofi Annan speaking, and a variety of other people. And as you can imagine, I was dumbfounded by the sheer amount of I don't know, just even who gets invited to Nelson Mandela's like birthday.
Right.
It's honestly was like pretty mind blowing, I have to say. Then it set me on this whole other, right? Like it set me on this whole other path of then, oh my God, what do you give the man who gave the gift of freedom for his birthday? And
handshake, but not right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, oh my God, what do I do? And so I ended up writing a concept for him to honor he and his legacy beyond the span of his lifetime. And so I wrote an entire presentation and had the opportunity to present it to his foundation, and he and some of his family members, and I had a really dear friend come with me on that trip, which at that time we were close, but we were not as close as we are now, because we are family. We've always been family, but but I had invited Susan Silver to come with me as my wing woman, and I've always had a lot of. She also is one of my idols, and I always, she just is somebody incredible. And so I had said to her, I was like, I don't know what kind of trip you'd like to have, but I need to warn you, I'm a little bit of a renegade, and I've got an idea. And so I'm going to be like having some meetings and things and pitching some people. And I don't know if you would like to, join me in the meetings, or what would you like to do? And she was like, oh my God, I'd love to go to the meetings. And then I realized, I'm like, oh my God, it's not bad enough that I'm about to try to pitch my wildest dreams to basically Mr. Mandela's entire world. But I'm actually going to also now try to do it in front of one of my greatest mentors of my life. And no pressure, but and she was the most extraordinary and gracious co-conspirator that one could ever have. And it was, I'll never forget the trip as long as I live. I had lived in the hotel that we were staying in the year prior when working over there so much. I knew a lot of the hotel staff where I was living. And when I got there, they were all, oh, Christine, you're back. And oh, you're here with such good company. And they're like, oh, Jimmy Carter's here, Kofi Annan's here, Richard Branson's here. And I'm like, in the hotel? Oh my God. Like,
Wow.
okay. It was mind blowing. Honestly, it's some very mind blowing experiences, but, yeah, so that's how it all led to the Mr. Mandela situation. And so we stayed in South Africa beyond the events, and then I went on this incredible safari, Susan and I, and again, another like life-changing situation. And we're on our way out back into the bush of Kruger National Park, and the phone rings. I have a South African cell. And it's the Mandela Foundation saying, hey, we so appreciated your presentation and it's awesome. We love what you're thinking, but in the meantime, could you do this for us? Because we've got an event coming up and we really need some help. And would you, consider being part of our World AIDS Day team? And I mean, even now I could barely speak from the overwhelm that I felt at that moment. And it was a tremendous honor. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life and nearly killed me, but it was one of the greatest honors of my lifetime. A lot of hard work and a lot of
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of people overuse that word awesome, but that is incredibly awesome to be a part of something like that.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it literally, it was extraordinary. Some of the stories, the side stories that happened in the meantime, this is a funny story too. Adriel, did you want to say something before I just continue to ramble?
You got us going. We're listening.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
God almighty.
We're going to go to, I got something coming down the line. Go ahead.
You got what?
Keep going.
Okay, so when we were talking about kind of the how things align, one of the things that was wild in that process, so I was booking the talent for the Mandela show, and as you can imagine, World AIDS Day was a couple days after Thanksgiving. It takes 2 days to fly from the West Coast to get to South Africa. So to try to get to somebody from, let's just say California, to South Africa during Thanksgiving week and asking them to perform for free, not exactly the easiest job that anyone's ever had.
Yeah.
So anyway, not to say that people aren't honored by the invitation, but it's a lot, and and you're supposed to be doing that very far in advance. And this was not far in advance. I think I had 6 to 8 weeks to try to book the show and get tickets on sale. Brutal.
That is brutal.
It was brutal. And so I'm at lunch. At this point, I'm living in LA, in LA. And I was having lunch with a different client, something completely different, trying to also raise some funds at Chateau Marmont in LA, which is always one of my go-to lunch spots because it's just private, it's beautiful, it's a good spot. And I'm having lunch with these two guys that are actually like land development kind of people, which obviously I believe I mentioned I was fundraising. And in walks Bono. And Bono and the Edge and Jimmy Iovine, like the list of people that walks in. And I was like, oh my God. And I say to the guys, and this is where the renegade moves come in, when I'm always afraid. And when it's with people that don't know me, this is why it is, those who fly singles fly best sometimes. Because, it's like, okay. So I turn to these guys and I'm like, oh my God, Bono's just walked in the building. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but at some point I have to warn you, I'm going to make a renegade move. I need to see him and see if I can get him booked to perform. And And they keep talking about whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, you know, so now I've got a cheering section. And I'm like, no, let's keep it chill. Don't be looking over there, you know? And I got to be real. I'm not one who rushes people. It's just really not my nature, but, well, sort of my nature, but not in a freak out way.
Right.
I'll stalk you on the phone. But anyway, so I was like, okay, I need to think about this and let me figure out my moves. And they keep trying to tell me things. I'm like, I need a minute. And so I realized I had like a Mandela DVD with me about all these things. And I was like, okay, you know, and they're like, well, you could give it to a waiter. And I said, yeah, I could, but I need that energetic exchange. I need, like my energy needs to be present there. And so I decided that I was going to like walk up and give him something. And so I walk up and I had written down something about, I work with Mr. Mandela. I, you know, dropped a few things that would make them know that I wasn't some complete lunatic. And, you know, if you have a moment before you leave, I'd appreciate it, you know, a moment with you. And I handed him the stuff that like also would support what I'm saying. And, when I walked up, Bono was like, he literally was addressing the table, and I was like, oh my God. And I'd gone too far to turn back at that point. And if you know, it's like, you're right, like there's no turning back now. So I like bent down and the edge was sitting right there. So I tapped him on the shoulder and I just looked at him and he like looked at me and I'm like, I work with Mr. Mandela. And I pointed at it, showed him the stuff, and he was like, uh-huh. And I go, could you please see that Bono gets this? Yes. And then I ducked and ran. Like, I was in and out in under 15 seconds. That's the key.
Dude, that's the fastest left-right express I've ever heard in my life.
You gotta get in, get out. You know, you're not trying to be that Klingon. And so so I sat there and waited through the lunch, and basically by the time they got done, I'm sitting across the way, like a ways away. I see Bono on the edge get up and they turn around and I know they're looking for me, like I know they are. And so I just kind of leaned over and did a little, hey, I'm right here.
Sup?
Lunatic that bum rushed you is right here. And so Bono came over and was incredibly generous and embraced me like, you know, 20 years, was grateful that I said hello. I booked him on the spot for Mr. Mandela's 90th birthday. And we had a really incredible talk, and you know, on you go. So my personal life lesson in that is, you know, if the shot presents itself and you feel like it's yours to take, then be strategic, be quick, do not be overimposing, but take the shot.
Absolutely. All right, so we got a little bit of time.
You had that short amount of time. What guests were actually lined up on that show? What did you end up getting at working on such a small time frame?
Oh,
like the artist.
We had Peter Gabriel.
Oh
Lord.
Yeah.
You see Bono was just like,
yeah, exactly. It was extraordinary. Peter Gabriel, Annie Lennox, Queen was our house band, Corinne Bailey Rae, Goo Goo Dolls, Ludacris live, Jamelia, Razorlight, a variety of folks, Soweto Gospel Choir, Johnny Clegg. Yeah, it was an incredible lineup of people on that particular show, the World AIDS Day show. And then the 90th for Mr. Mandela was like everybody. That was in London in Hyde Park. So, yeah, it was life-changing. It really was life-changing. You know?
Yeah, we're just like sitting there.
It did. I mean, it nearly killed me. I was trying to book Eminem right until the very last minute, That ended up not happening. He had proof it was just shot the year prior. I just told this story, funnily enough, on Facebook the other day, but it's a fact. And his team wanted it to happen, but it just was. It was not the right timing, but I did. I thought it would be history. I really did. I wanted to put the white wrapper with Mr. Mandela, and the combination of the two I thought was real history. Funny, you two stayed at my house and they were showing their mom. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, they're good guys. They're great guys. And so obviously, I mean, everybody knows of Red and everything else. So incredibly charitable. I could never have anything disrespectful to say about Bono. Never. He walks his talk. There's many celebrities who do not. Bono walks his talk.
I just have yet to see him without sunglasses on.
Well, if you work that many hours, you wouldn't want to have your sunglasses on.
Touche, my good friend. Touche.
So now let's move forward now. You just did his last 100th birthday, correct?
What was that?
Where was that? His last birthday.
Oh, that was
Did you just do a festival a couple years ago? 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that. I remember I was trying to help you, or we were trying to get David Gilmour for that show, and we got some numbers, but that didn't work out.
Yeah,
but how was that?
That was quite the adventure, and yeah, that was a challenge. I had Steven Tyler was headlining that one. Correct.
You had Nuno, Steven Tyler, and Nuno Bettencourt.
Nuno and a variety of other folks. Bob Geldof was there. Variety of folks. That was a bit of a bumpy ride. I got to be honest.
That was not one of the peaks.
Right? It had the potential to peak, but yeah, it was one that had some challenges.
Well, we got a special guest, Christine. You met him at our dinner for the Texas Pink Floyd the night before the evening. Our dinner, Dylan Emery. Bring him in.
Hey.
How are you?
Do you remember Dylan?
Yeah.
That big tall guy in the room. That was me.
Yeah, I remember. Nice seeing you.
I saw everybody that night. How have you been?
Been busy. Until not busy.
I've got this one question for you, because when I was there that night, obviously I was kind of new to the game, new to kind of meeting everybody, and you did say some words to me about, kind of keeping your dream, and obviously I do the radio show and everything else like that, and you're very motivational, and I like that about you. And the one thing that kind of blew my mind that night was, why Adriel? What was the story? What's the story between you and Adriel? I love Adriel. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to come across that way. Remember, I'm in media, so.
Dude, I want to go complete that 70s show and be like, burn! It just. Thanks, Dylan.
Well, some stories some things that happen on the road need to stay on the road, my friend. But but Adriel, Adriel we just hit it off right from the very beginning. He, on a tour, and especially when there's as many bands as there were and as many, again, different personalities, it's really important to make friends that are going to be like your family when you're on the road. If not, then it can be an uncomfortable time sometimes, just because there's so many conflicting agendas. And I'm not going to lie, being a woman on the road is not the easiest thing. Shout out to every woman who is in the music business and on the road, and it's not the easiest thing. And so Adriel was always not only incredibly talented, and I was definitely, I bonded with he and his bandmates they were just nice people, and so I really I appreciated having like a brother on the road, and Adriel was like my brother, and so we've been friends forever, and I love him very much. I think I
was on your bus more than the band bus.
I'm pretty sure you were.
Yeah,
that's usually the way.
Get away. Let me go hang out with Christine.
Yeah.
She's a Crown Royale rep on this tour, and that's whatever.
Yeah. No, it was Chevis Regal.
Yes, it was Chevis.
Yeah, I brought in
Yeah,
Chevis.
that's
I
better
always
than
had a wonderful time. If I needed someone to talk to, it was Christina.
Right.
I'd always go talk to her, and we'd go have some dinners. We'd eat. We just always bonded.
We didn't, and even before the tour.
Without any other bands.
No, I just
stood up, and there was a Chris Brothers band with Steve.
I can
Miami
absolutely tell. It's just the conversations that y'all have been able to like. I could sit with this woman for like 12 hours at least and be able to listen to every story that she's got and just be like, I guess. She absolutely.
They're wondering why Adrian.
No, you know,
I feel like,
I love
I
it.
do like to watch Adriel. That's great.
He's so talented and, you know, so much fun. And we just always stayed in touch. And I'm really proud of what he's doing with Texas Pink Floyd. It's beautiful and it deserves to.
Isn't it a great show? Isn't it a great show, Christine? All the things you've seen. To you know, I do have a team, but just from beginning to end, I mean, that night was magical.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. And
Dylan, what the
Derek,
fuck are you doing?
Derek,
We got pest control out here in Texas. Come on, people.
Oh my God.
Here's a funny story about what you just saw. So
I
there's like
wrote you a
cats in the
message. I can't
backyard.
find it on your
Right,
Facebook or Tim Pink Floyd.
So
I can't find the picture you got too. I need you. I have to grab it.
Instagram.
And we're protecting the kittens from all the there's like vultures back here, buzzards, you know?
Right.
That's what we do. It's a Monday.
Well, stop
evening.
leaving.
It's called
Well, stop
entertainment.
leaving dead shit in your backyard, dude.
I'm not. But you know what's funny, Christina, is something that you had kind of brought up about Adriel and that connection that you had with him on the road. In short story about me and Adriel's a guy that watched me on Spurs React. Like he was one of those guys that was on Facebook, and I was like, who's this guy? He looks kind of familiar, right? And it's like one of those connections that you had. And Adriel actually reached out to me. Now, mind you, never met him, didn't even know who he was, only through Facebook. And he said, hey, you want to go to a Spurs game? I'm like, well, am I not going to say no to a Spurs game?
Right.
Duh.
And so
And he's doing
I didn't
after
meet
every
Adriel
game.
face to face until I picked him up. And from that moment, I've always felt like this man has been very important. He's kind of like a brother of mine. Like he kind of keeps me in check. You know, we've known each other throughout
Okay,
the
that's
years.
frightening.
No, he does.
Adriel,
Hey,
you
you don't really have to stop that. There is no back on this chair, and I'm about to go.
I'm telling you, he keeps me in check. Believe it or not.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Story.
Well, I appreciate that, Dylan, and we do have a private conversation still to this day. We come over to the studio, and COVID was full on, and right at the beginning, and everything was a little spooky, and we sat probably 12 feet away from each other. We would discuss our family issues, you know, things we're going through. What can we do? What do we change? And it's always wonderful having those conversations with you, Dylan. You definitely pull me out of the hole as well.
See? That's what we do.
Well, that's the thing. It's human interaction. That's the one thing that we've been missing for over a month. We have to be able to have that human interaction, and if we don't get it, we start to go a little stir crazy, cabin fever. So as you may say,
Start
you know,
shooting birds in the backyard.
start shooting birds. Like Eddie said, did we miss a crime? Did we just witness a crime?
No, we're good. You might hear sirens in the background. We're fine. Don't worry about it.
I know. I heard that one too.
Still a little eerie.
It was there.
Hey, Dylan, so we're going to go grab some pizza and a cold kind of beer after the show if you would like to join us.
Apparently.
Dylan, I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
And
no problem, guys.
I gotta figure out. We gotta come up with a segment with you for every show. You just bring a lot of great energy.
I think we just came up with a great segment. What do you think? Why Adriel? I think that's great. I think we should come up with it.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
But listen, hey,
I'll put out the
anytime-
hashtag later.
Yeah. Hey, let's see, man. Come join us for some pizza and some beer in a little bit. Yeah.
Bye. Take care. Good seeing you.
Bye, Dylan.
Awesome. Yeah, he's still there. He's just in the background there.
Hey, this candle.
This
So,
can't.
yeah, no, so Christine sent me a package of one of her monthly.
Oh, this is her candle.
Yeah, it's her candle.
You didn't tell me that was her candle earlier. I was just like, hey, you got candles. Great.
Hmm. Nice.
Not champa, but in a very different way. I mean, what flavor is or what?
What flavor? Don't taste it, Adrian.
Yeah, no.
Don't taste it.
What scent is this?
It is. It's not
This is your
champa.
request. It is
Not
not
champa and patchouli. What was that?
It's wonderful. I mean,
Okay.
the studio smells amazing.
Awesome. Got to keep
Apparently makes it sound
fire
amazing
in
too.
there.
We staged the room prior, and we've just been trying to get everything going.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what's our next plan, you and I? I need to get out to New York.
Apparently.
I need to go see that.
Apparently, I need to go to New York. I've never been to New York.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I just I was talking to somebody the other day, and somebody Venus productions are now not happening. So they're as on the front lines in the event business. 2020 is canceled, and it's pretty rough. But I read somewhere the other day that they're going to start to have maybe drive-in concerts, and I just met some folks that have a drive-in here nearby, so maybe we get a Texas Pink Floyd drive-in show.
New York sounds wonderful, and I'm going to tell you something. I'm actually already in the process of doing that here in San Antonio.
Oh, cool, sweet.
I got the movement going, and I had wanted to do it, 3 years ago, and I had just kind of posted it up, and a dear friend of mine, she hit me up, and she's like, "I got the connect. We can do this." Now this was pre-COVID, so I wanted it to be
It's going to take a
more
while.
on the ground. Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's getting done. I've seen some shows already across the world. I forgot who just had one. I don't know if it was Indonesia. I don't know where. There was just somewhere that they were having the concert.
Missouri's
It was
talking about
incredible.
shows again. The thing is that most touring bands of note are not going to go on the road right now. They're just not.
Correct. It's way too early.
It's way too early. There might be a second wave, and like I said earlier, coming to you live from New York, it's significant here. I'm glad that Texas hasn't had the same level of wave that we've had. It's horrific. And so we probably do err more on the side of caution than throwing caution to the wind because people are going down in the hundreds by the day, and it's hard.
Oh yeah.
So
The times we live in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, no matter what you have, Texas Pink Floyd is on board. We
Well,
would
rock
love to
on.
help you in any way we can. When that day comes, and we'll be back in business together. We'll
We
be
love
working
that.
again together.
yeah.
Yes,
But in the meantime,
So
I'm
I-
happy to support you as I always do.
I know, and I thank you so much, and I thank you for being just a wonderful, dear friend of mine, and that,
Yeah,
like a
love you.
sister. Again, sister, you're my girl, man.
That's right.
Talk to you about anything, man. I got a few of them that I can do that with, and
Yep.
and I really, really appreciate that.
Of course. Always.
This friendship has been phenomenal. It started back in '99. That's when that
Crazy,
started.
right? Crazy.
1999, yeah. Crazy.
So I heard you built a barn for this new business you have.
Well,
Build
the
a
barn
barn.
has actually been here since 1900. I renovated.
Yeah. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to show some footage of that.
Okay, rock on.
You want to explain as we go? We took out the audio, Christine.
So we actually put in everything you pretty much see. That table, I picked that slab out of hundreds of slabs. I loved it. I think that's a table I'm sitting at right
bitchin'.
now. Yeah, it's super cool. And my friend Kevin helped and built all this stuff and did a really beautiful, beautiful job. Obviously, the floors aren't getting redone right now because no, that's not happening. But this is just right before I started moving everything in. I'm just starting to get the boxes undone and getting settled in here. It's only been less than a week, I think, since we primarily finished construction. There's still some few things that need to happen, but yeah, I built my own little apothecary. Oh, I have got you name it in here. Everything from
Are those your-
I blend teas, I make sachets, I use natural products in everything I make. And so it's very much an herbalist's dream, create tinctures and aromatherapy elements and so forth. And so it's bottle upon bottle of natural elixirs and the gifts from Mother Earth.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's fantastic. And this place looks gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you. So those things right there, which I can't, corbels are called. Oh, good. I do go back there. Those are from some old Victorian that was torn down or redone, and people get rid of old stuff. And I love old. Everything in here is recycled or reused in some kind of one way, shape, or form or another. Those little red chairs, I got those at an auction for $60. Like, this is called renovation on a budget, but make it like, I love it. I really love it. And I like character. I'm not into cookie cutter anything. So this is really incredible to have it all created kind of the way that I dreamed of it for my ultimate artist studio.
God, that table's bitching, man. I love that table.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it too. It's 11 feet long.
God, I just like put that in our house. That would take up like 2 rooms in our house.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. But I ultimately plan on having classes and workshops in here when we can gather again. And in addition to doing everything that I do for Spirit and the boxes and just in different products, I want to have classes in here because I think it's really, really fun. Thank you. I think it's super fun to gather and create together. I mean, it's just like, with music, you get together, you create, it brings unity and a sense of self and spirit,
Hey, so we're going to work on that idea that we were throwing back and forth.
Wait, idea?
The other day, I come up with, you were doing your baking and I'll do the cookbook because you're like, every time I put a photo, you're like, hey, I need the recipe. I'm like, Jesus, we're on 3 recipes already, Christine.
Yeah, well, by the way, I busted out carbonara.
Let's put it together. Yeah. Oh. But you know what? We can put it together and, maybe it's like a 10 recipe. Yeah.
We could have fun with it.
Definitely have some fun. Give us something to do in the meantime, right?
Yeah, heck. Well,
not like
I gotta tell you, this is certainly not a downtime over here. Having all productions canceled, this is called reinvent and do it right now. Right. And so
find your way.
Absolute high because Mama's got to pay for the barn, and so there's no
amazed. I'm sorry. There's a delay here, and I did not mean to step all over your toes.
That's right.
But I'm just shocked on how your property. You get your home. You have these 2 barns, and we were talking, and you were like, "It's less than my 1-bedroom apartment in Santa Barbara."
Yeah.
It's amazing what you live on and what you've done to that.
Yeah, with the river, the whole 9 yards. It's incredible. I feel super.
I'm looking so forward to doing a dinner over there. And, I told Michelle we got to get all together. She's
we do.
Yeah.
She's right down the street. I've been in touch with her quite a bit.
Beautiful. And we'll all get together and throw something nice. She likes cooking as well.
Awesome. Fun.
She's a great cook. Well,
that'll be great.
I thank you. I hope you had a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Anything you want to touch on?
Like, give us your websites and everything.
Okay. So my production website is 33productions.com to order boxes. Right now, I'm only offering products through Etsy. And honestly, they're only on pre-order moment because we sold out so quickly of everything the last batch we made. So I'm crafting things up this week. They'll be shipping by the end of the week. So if you want them, step up and place that order on Etsy at Spirit Trading Company. And I look forward to shipping it out to you. It feels great to put so much love in a box, and people really, really love getting them. I get such nice feedback, but it feels like I'm giving presents to people when I send them. And
I want one of those masks.
Now, real quick,
they're awesome.
When they sign up with your company, can they just do once a month, or they sign up for a yearly? Monthly?
That's why right now
the option.
Yeah, there's options. That's why right now I'm doing Etsy, because Etsy is more one-off. the subscription, there is a subscription, but right now I have that on pause, although I'm going to have subscriptions on sale in the middle of the month. I'm rebuilding my website as we speak, so that everything's a little disjointed right now. The the boxes are over here, the Etsy's over here. It's like, okay, we got to bring it all together. And I didn't need to in the beginning because I just started, but now demand has grown and times have changed. And so, yeah, just go to Etsy and you can order one-off gifts. And I also do, Mother's Day is coming up. If you need something special for your mom, you may not see it on the site. Let me tell you that. But if you're into crystals and anything aromatherapy related, just hit me up. Hit me with a direct message or email me at info@tradingcompany.com, and we can talk about your budget and I can put something special together for you.
Cool.
But get on it, because if you want to,
And I believe she's on here watching. I can't tell who the viewers are, but I know she watches every episode, and she was excited. And I told her you were the guest today, so I'm sure she's on there. I'm sure she's here watching.
I love your
I think
mom.
she knows how to.
Better be staying safe for that mother of yours. And I posted that on your site the other day, but I mean it. That mom she is precious cargo. You better not mess with that.
Hey, I'm not.
You better not.
Two mothers. You got two mothers.
You got two mothers. You got more than one of the more than that.
Well, that's just because you do need the slap down every now and again, my friend. And there are several of us who have self-proclaimed themselves to be in that position.
Hey, Derek, would you like to say hello? You want to come over and say hello to her?
I can bring myself up on my screen.
Go for it. We're going to get a feedback, so if we do, make sure you log off soon, quickly.
Hey, Derek, what's up, my friend?
Hey, what's going on? But
I think I need to mute myself.
You do.
Yeah, here, I can fix it.
Either way, how you doing now, Christine? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, so
I can't fix it.
R&D. I've been listening to the whole conversation, right? So you're rebuilding your website. You have an Etsy integration going on, but overall, how has business been for you? And more towards a spirit trading company and the demand. Like, you've been 6 months public?
Well, no, I had Spirit going for about a year and a half, and then I haven't been doing Spirit when I moved across country because I couldn't. It's just me, So I had it on hiatus until like 2 weeks ago, and I started a few weeks prior, people writing me emails, hey, you're coming back. Hey, can I get a box? Hey, can I? And because I was really worried that having to have the hiatus to move across country, that I would lose my customers, or you know what I mean? Like that really,
your demand will be too high for your supply.
Yeah, but instead, people seem to be like, oh my God, she's back. I need the stuff, and so I literally got more pre-orders. I made last week, 60 boxes, and I had pre-orders before I could even get them on the site. So I only had 5 left to sell by the time it was, getting them up, and those sold out within 24 hours. And now I've got another list of pre-orders happening. And actually today just got 2 corporate orders, but,
2 corporate orders?
Holy shit.
People need a little lift, and I am here to give it.
Nice. Nice.
You're ready.
You're
right.
But the sample that
you're ready to rev up those engines.
You mailed me, Christine. Is that Rebirth? Was that this last package that went out, or was this something you had when I said, hey, send me your product?
I just released a few of those candles, and they sold out.
Tell us how it works. Like the monthly, right? Like you
typically it's a
seasons.
But right now I've been just doing Etsy as one-offs, but the monthly will be back up and running come summer solstice. And then that you just subscribe, and next thing you know, every month a themed box comes to your door. I kind of I really go off of a lot of things: astrology, what season we're in, what spirit we're in, and
explain a little bit more how you have your the monthly mantra, if you will. I mean, you come up with these little sayings, don't you? Or are these
I
already
write
preset?
everything. Yeah.
Right.
So
Well,
why
I
don't
don't
you-
think that the audience knows exactly what all comes with your package. What the
Okay,
packaging
but
behind
first, why don't you read the mantra, because you should when you're lighting that candle anyway. That's the whole thing.
it. I did. No, I did.
Read it
But
out.
I'm trying
Read
to
it out
the
loud.
audience doesn't know
Read
what's
it out.
going on.
I've given you my last candle, my friend. I don't have one to
I
read.
know, but I don't have my cheaters. I don't have my cheaters. I can't.
Oh, okay. Well,
And like, look, no, it's
This
right
is
here.
your
Like
job, bro.
it's gonna
This is
spill. I
your-
can't see in here. It's too dark.
okay, well, that's fine.
For the audience members,
All right, that's fine.
Exactly.
So basically, there is an intention on the back of each.
I'll read it.
Okay, go ahead, Derek.
Send it to me.
You're not in
It's
it.
full.
Here,
Come on.
dude.
I can get it.
If this is the technical difficulties we have, I'll take it.
Yeah, right? Great.
Oh, you can't.
No. He's got to go over there. All right, I'll add you.
All right.
Done.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Ignite spirit. Breathe deeply and affirm. Dedicate this candle to rebirth. Embrace some wax glow. Embrace any dark shadows and bring them to light by igniting the fire within. Align my spirit with my indomitable inner strength. I celebrate myself as I rise anew with grace and fearlessness. I am reborn.
And so it is, my
Spirit.
friend.
Yes.
So it is.
That's actually, you write that on yourself.
Oh yeah. No, I drop into the energy of what it is that we're doing, where we're at. And I'm a strong believer in self-empowerment and empowerment and inspiration in general. And mantra is a very powerful way to cement for yourself and for your spirit, your intentions. And so, chanting over and over every single time that you ignite the candle, and and with each box comes not only the candle, but there's also I've got some like ritual cards, and so each oops, there you go. Can you see that? So like Palo Santo, it tells you about Palo Santo. So the energy, for example, it's a mystical tree that grows on the south coast of America. It literally means holy wood, and it goes into that. And then I tell you how to use it, what its empowerment is and what it does. And then there's also an affirmation for that. The air is clear and I vibrate with creativity and good fortune in every moment. And you state these things with total intention, and you reinforce that in the universe, and you act as if it is. And then that is how you bring about your the shifts that you're looking for in your life. The more you fortify yourself, and it's particularly in these times where fear is really what grips people so much with all that's going on. It's really important to breathe deeply, step back, center yourself, and affirm.
Love it.
I mean, that's where it is.
It's wonderful. I understand it. So go ahead, Hutch.
No, I was good. I was just like, love it. I gotta pee. I just.
Well, Christine, thank you for coming on, and I'll give you a call in the next couple of days, and we'll chat up. I thank you for coming on.
Oh, hey, Tony Stewart. What's up?
Do what?
My boy Tony Stewart just dropped in, and he's
saw that.
Hey, hello.
so Tony. Just okay before I'm letting you throw me off.
No, I'm not throwing you off. Go ahead.
No, but you guys should know each other. So Tony was the DJ on one of the first tours that I ever produced myself, which was the Gen Synergy tour, which was BT and Hooverphonic back in the day. And Tony was the hype man and DJ, and he is an incredible DJ and rapper in his own right, and probably one of the kindest spirits that you'll ever meet. Tony, actually, you should follow each other. He does nightly DJ sets that are sick. His musical knowledge is insane, and he is a truly gifted artist in his own right. So, hey, Tony, love you.
Hey, Tony.
So glad you're here.
Yeah, I would love to get together. Maybe we can mash something together, man.
It's awesome.
Tell me, you need to get together and mash something up. And maybe
I love it.
Tony's our guy.
Tony's your man. He is the
Wonderful.
mixer.
I will hit you up, Tony.
Mm.
And
Nice.
I keep thinking he's on there. Oh, I'm waiting for his response. Well, I will definitely hook up. And it's Tony Stewart, just straight off Facebook, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. Wonderful.
Awesome.
Definitely hit him up after the show, man. And again, no, you're great. No, hey, it's all about networking, right? And
Yeah.
Thank you for
Gotta keep the network of creators together and inspired and lifted. That's what we all need to do in whatever ways.
Amen to that.
And thank you very
Amen
much
to that.
for having me on your show and letting me talk about myself for an hour.
Hell yeah, why not?
Hey, we loved it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Thanks
take care,
again.
honey.
Okay,
All right.
bye-bye.
Take care,
Okay.
Christine. Man, that was intense.
I got some great guests lined
God,
up.
man. I was like taken aback by like
It's like-
everything that she said. I was just
My
like,
guests have
wow.
These wonderful stories that I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
We don't want to.
No, we
I
don't.
want to let them tell their story.
And if they've got a 30-minute fucking story, I'm gonna let them to the 30-minute story because I want to fucking hear it.
As long as we have the times that to break up the monotony,
Exactly.
then we're okay. And do not want to interrupt that.
And keep in mind, folks, if y'all have a question for any of our guests that come on and everything, just say it in the comments. We can put it out there. She will answer it. Whoever our guest is will answer it.
And if you want to join us and we do take your question,
Yeah.
make sure after your question, just leave your email. We'll shoot you a link, and then we'll
We'll
put it on the show.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So,
As long as you don't break the camera. No, I'm just playing. I break cameras. Yeah.
that was episode 3.
That was episode 3.
I'm juggling some guests for next week. It's all a timing thing.
Juggling, huh?
Yeah, well, they're there, but it's all about their scheduling. So I might move a guest up, and I'll find out later this evening. And I think with the change that's coming up, I'm going to have Johnny Radelet from Gary Clark Jr.
Oh,
and he will be an in-guest.
He's coming.
He will be here in the studio.
that's fucking
doing
fat.
the show. He's like, I don't want to do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Sweet. Come on in. Let's have a good time.
Tell him not to bring a mask. No, I'm just playing.
So y'all stay tuned. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we're going to run out here with our outro, and we'll catch you next time. Peace. Thank
Thanks,
you.
folks.